Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show I have Todd Wetzelberger, who brings a vast construction experience spanning decades, as well as self-described visionary with his approach to business. Todd, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I always like to start off at the top of the show by asking folks how they got into the real estate space.
Yeah, I think it's genetic. I always knew I was going to do real estate, and had my last job was I used to be a deep sea diver in the Gulf of Mexico many years ago. We had rental properties then, and I knew when I got out of the oil field, we were going to do real estate full time. So it was kind of planned. But my grandfather had done some development. He had a small business, and I think it's just in my blood. And I love construction. I've done construction I love just big construction, and that's what we've done a lot of. So anyway, I think it was just kind of preordained.
Did you see a lot of the business that was going on? You mentioned your grandfather. Was that a lot of that passed down, or was it one of these deals where you saw it from a distance and you said, I'd like to do that one day? Great
question. Not at all. He died about 4 years before I was even born. But my grandmother always said I was kind of like him, incarnate. Just, I think it's genetic. But no, I learned, it was all self-taught, and probably like you and most listeners, I've probably spent, at least $100,000 or more in the old days where they had to go to the boot camp on the weekends, whether it was condos or flipping. Self-education, college was really kind of a waste of time, but a lot of time in education, mentoring. So it was self-taught, plus obviously you learn by your mistakes.
So when you were getting into the business, did you mention oil field? Were you oil field?
Yeah, I was a commercial diver. I did underwater construction, pipelines and out in the Gulf of Mexico. That was kind of like my last like job. That was back in the late 90s, early
commercial diver. That sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, I did. I got on my fingers and toes. I came close to getting killed a lot of times, but it was just part of the adventure at the time. But it's still construction. We're basically glorified plumbers underwater. You're putting together pipelines and platforms and doing taking down big construction equipment. It was fun till it wasn't. So
is that, when I'm thinking about offshore oil, big rig type of thing, is that what that was at that time?
Yep. Yeah, mostly natural gas. We did some oil work. We did some abandonment of old platforms. Mostly it was new construction, new pipeline, natural gas pipeline construction.
My gosh. So you're involved in that. Are you then doing real estate simultaneously? Because I'm imagining you're making good money with that. Or did you get out of that completely to go do real estate?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Simultaneously, when I'm coming from, I'd be gone for months at a time. When I come in from a hitch offshore, we had a fourplex, a couple other rentals, and I was using the rental property, the depreciation, to basically zero out my tax bill from diving.
Going from doing diving work and with the offshore oil to then managing these properties, are you having to wear a lot of hats? Is it like a juggling act? And how are you managing these deals while not always being there?
Yeah, if it's helpful for people listening, one of my first flips I did was in Tampa, Florida, when I was offshore, and it was a nightmare. I remember they stole everything, they broke in. I'm on a bag phone on a heliport at $4 a minute talking to my contractor, and we got a guard dog. They stole the guard dog. It was a flipping mess. But that was my first rehab. And trying to do it, 100 miles offshore is just wasn't smart. But after that, we had rentals, and my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, was on land, so she could help with kind of when I was gone in the oil field. She would help, screen the tenants and keep the properties filled. And like I was saying, I don't know if it broke up, I was using the rental property depreciation to offset and pretty much zero out my tax bill for diving. So there was kind of like a planned thing.
And so I'm imagining you're acquiring additional properties. You're seeing this as a potential exit strategy. You're also saying, I don't know how long I can do this diving thing for. This is maybe a little precarious career path, right? And so then you're seeing this opportunity in the real estate space, family background. Is your mindset, hey, I'm going to go and basically be a landlord and buy as many properties as I can? Was that the mentality getting out of the business?
Correct. It was flips and rentals. Yeah. And we lived in New Orleans, so there's a lot of historic property, and we specialized. So we would do flips, sell some, keep some rentals, a little bit of wholesaling if we had too many properties. And then it grew too fast. We had 20 guys working for us because you need more properties, you need more guys, you have more guys, you need more properties. So it was both, but it just grew out of control because I took way more than I should have in the beginning, but you just got to keep on rolling.
In those early stages where you're building a business, but you're also managing assets, was there any growing, I don't want to say growing pains, but any aha moments where you said, okay, this is actually something that I'm really passionate about and that I'm particularly competent in. I want to dive into here.
Yeah, just because I enjoy construction. And I hope this is relevant and mindful of time. The first rehab we did when I got out of the oil field, the budget was 50 grand, and it was all termite infested. Anybody who lives down south and knows that. And we started taking off the weatherboards, and the whole back master bath collapsed because it was all termite. You couldn't see it between the walls. So the budget went from 50 to 100. I remember sitting on the toilet in this open air bathroom now with all the termites swarming around my head. And my contractor's like, yeah, you're at 100 now. And I was like, fuck, I got to go back offshore and get a job again. And that was kind of that was my first, just anybody listening, it's new. Things were not smooth, but I ground through it. I got another property, and I'm not going back offshore again because I was kind of burned out then. And you just grind through it. So aha moments was just keep on grinding and don't stop. And all of a sudden we did 40 properties in a year and a half. We had 20 guys working for us because I didn't want to go back offshore. So and some were rentals, and we did a lot of Section 8 rentals too. For the keepers.
So you have two strategies working simultaneously. You have the flips and then you have the rentals. And now you mentioned Section 8. How are you managing this business because it's two separate realms, right? You've got the flipping and then you've got your rental portfolio. Are you personally managing the rental portfolio as well?
Great question. I did in the beginning, and then thank God my wife, who's an occupational therapist, took time away from her job to help with the management. Because I couldn't. I had to really, and we started doing condo conversions too of old historic properties. So I really handled the construction development side, and she started taking over more and more of the rentals, but we all self-managed. We went through a course called Mr. Landlord, Jeffrey Taylor out of Virginia Beach way back. And I had Carlton Sheets on cassette tapes. I'm kind of telling you how old I am. but we self-managed all of her stuff. And, but my wife took more of that on because I couldn't do both without her help.
And for your flips, were you looking for off-market distressed, or were you making at that time offers to properties that you saw listed on market as well?
Both, but it was so much easier. Anybody listening now, COVID has changed, right? The inventory is so thin. We're all struggling during COVID because the inventory is so thin. Back then, I did the old stuff, bandit signs, networking. We bought a lot, I was mentioned before, we did a lot of ugly properties, like really ugly title issues, construction, half dilapidated, like the uglier the better. And it was just easy to find deals because a lot of people shied away from those.
Now, with title issues, this is a very niche area
Yep.
of distressed real estate, right? And so I think people can easily get lost in the title issues that come about. I've encountered a couple deals where you get a property under contract, someone so many different things come up, right? Someone believes it's their property, they have a document that says that it is, then there's multiple different heirs involved. Now you're talking like joint tenancy versus the different other types of uh, ways that people can own property, right? And I'm imagining that this was a lot to take on, but you found a passion for it and you found that you were good at it. How did that end up matriculating? How did you realize, hey, this is something that I can drill down into?
I think I'm wired to take on a challenge, sometimes to a fault, right? Sometimes your greatest gift can be your greatest weakness. And I'm always hunting for deals, and I take on the really hard ones because a lot of people don't. And then I just learn through experience. I'm not going to get into it now because of the time, but I mentioned I had some litigation experience. I was a whistleblower after the 2008 crash, but I understood about title, and I really enjoyed going after those harder properties. And Louisiana follows Napoleonic civil code, not common law like other states. So trying to find heirs is a bear down there. There could be 20 heirs to a property. So I had to learn how to litigate and give notice and, do quiet title suits but those can be really gems or gold because you can get them for like, a couple $100 to have somebody
Yeah.
assign their right. But you gotta stand for the long haul. And sometimes you can rent a property out with. I have properties now with people deed it to me that have bad title, but I don't care. I don't care if I ever get clear title. I'm just going to rent it out. So people think you have to have clear title, but you don't have to.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
And so working through these title issues, I mean, there's so many different ways that you could go about it. I think a lot of it is that like real estate can be a contact sport. Like you might have to be going out and physically talking to these people. How often does that happen, or did that happen? And was that something that you saw regularly? Like, hey, I'm having to go out and drive out to these people and see what the deal is here.
Yeah, in the old days, right before big data, and like now it's so much easier. Like we have private, like everybody, I'm guessing use Fiverr and Upwork. We have private investigators. We have obviously skip tracing wasn't a thing back then. In the old days, it was door knocking, it was hunting them down. I've gone to jail, like visited people in jail. Like you do what you got to do to
Yeah.
find somebody to get the deed. And but it was it was always like I'm just trying to solve a problem. If if
Yeah.
if you were if you were you and I was the guy on the property, if you bring an offer to me, I'm like, hey man, this I can't get rid of it in their way, and you benefit and I benefit. I always treated it kind of that way. So I didn't care what people's circumstance was. I just tried to say, hey, here's a situation, and they either said yes or no, and we did the deal. So
The biggest thing that I've seen that separates effective real estate operators from anybody else is the ability to adapt, because your strategy may only be valid for a period of time and then it's got to change, and we're seeing that now.
yeah.
And then also the ability to problem solve, right? And people don't think about this enough because people think, oh, well, you have a rental property or you have an Airbnb or you have a corporate housing. But a lot of this is problem solving. And that's really where you find these good deals. Because you're mentioning, Todd, like these title issues, and specifically, you mentioned Louisiana being particularly tricky. I'm in Texas, right? But there's deals that seem a little hairy that no one wants to touch, and that's where all the money's made. and being able to go and solve those problems, that's really what separates an effective real estate operator.
100%. And if it's helpful, it's helpful now. Um, I mentioned before we got on here, I'm a deal guy. I'm a hunter. I'm a problem solver. It's my strength. It's, um, one thing I learned when Hurricane Katrina hit, it wiped out our business in was 2006, I think. Our whole business was wiped out overnight by Katrina. I really burned into my brain risk management and figuring out everybody's learned from asset classes, like what's the downside risk. Even though I'm a deal guy, I'm an optimist by nature. My brain is always wired now. What could go wrong? What's the downside risk? How can you try to insure against it or do your best to protect against downside risk? And because I used to lend money, I borrowed money, I've been on both sides, I bought notes. So I always try to like talk to people. And if I'm, trying to raise some capital, I'm like, hey, here's what could go wrong. The probability of it is this. I don't care about the upsides, but I've really learned about risk management and really like taken that a lot more seriously because of Katrina, man. I was on the hook for like $10 million in personal guarantees, and it was a flipping nightmare because I didn't cause the city to be underwater for 3 weeks, but our whole business was wiped out and it was a mess cleaning it up. It's a whole different topic for a different time. But anyway, I hope that's helpful.
I mean, you talk about Katrina. So, my uncle, funny enough, went to Tulane. I believe this was right around the time of Katrina. So I was down there before Katrina. I was down there before Katrina. And there's these events that happen that people don't see coming. Whether it's a Katrina, whether it's a COVID, whether it's a financial crash, and with Katrina '06, you had the financial crash like 2 years later or a year later. So you're kind of getting hit from all directions. And a lot of it too is just being, I call it, you kind of got to be a entrepreneurial cockroach. You've got to figure out how to survive, like
Yep.
nuclear wasteland, right? Just get through it. And then once you're able to do that, where do you start and where do you pick up the pieces? Did your business, Todd, change post Katrina? You mentioned, risk management. Were there specific strategies that you either looked at differently or that you maybe started taking a look at based on the experience that you had in Katrina?
Yeah. You mentioned those different things. They call them a black swan event, right? A black swan event like Katrina, right? Um, yeah. What I learned was, if I don't have to, I'm never signing a personal guarantee ever again. And just because I was on the hook, for all this money and I want to get into it, but insurance companies didn't want to pay. We probably had like 40 or 50 claims, some of them multi-property claims. Insurance companies fought you. I burned through over 300 grand writing checks on vacant damage properties every month. I should have gave the keys back to the bank and listened to my wife. Um, but you don't know what you don't know. And I was bringing guys from Baltimore, where I'm originally from, down to Louisiana to finish properties. I was moving heaven and earth, and we were still renovating in Baltimore and Louisiana. But what I had to reinvent was like just starting from scratch again and rebuilding
Yeah.
back in Baltimore. And you just got to keep on moving. You got to just adapt and don't stop. And it was rough. I mean, but you just got to keep on moving, man. And just plan for the downside risk. But 2008, I believe it was engineered. I'm pretty certain of it because of my experience. Katrina, like who could have planned that? Who knows if they manipulated the weather, whatever. But I'm always thinking, what can go wrong? How do we manage against it? And then put your chips down.
Are you still heavily investing out in that area, New Orleans area?
No, after Louisiana, after we evacuated, we sold a lot of stuff. But I've looked again because we still have contacts there. It's become very gentrified. It's kind of sad because and I'm a balance with real estate with, people getting forced out of their houses and,
Yeah.
Louisiana, New Orleans has become very gentrified and a lot of people got forced out, but there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of short-term rentals. Um, right now we're focused in Maryland. We're looking in Charlotte for some, co-living. We're doing some co-living stuff. And when I was buying notes, we ended up with properties like these obscure cities like Rome, New York, and so we've renovated probably 8 different states, but pretty much I'm focused in my central area here and in Charlotte, and a little bit in Florida because the market's starting to crash down there now.
Are you of the mindset where there's maybe a career trajectory for a real estate entrepreneur? I look at it this way. When I was getting into the real estate space, I knew nobody. I didn't have friends. I didn't have family. So I was kind of just networking, started with wholesale, got my real estate license. Now I'm looking at doing my first fix and flip or my first couple flips.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I've heard now many people going from fix and flips to hard money lending or to note buying to commercial. And it seems like you've made a progression as well from doing a lot of the single family investing, flips, right? And now talking about note buying. Do you see this as a common trend for people who are, aspiring real estate entrepreneurs and investors that, hey, 20 years down the road, you might be buying notes?
I think it's a personal preference, right? I know some guys that do just wholesaling, right? But it is a natural progression. And I enjoy construction. Some people don't. So I like doing construction. I love construction. Some days it sucks, because all the contractor stuff. But if you enjoy a certain niche, I think your best bet is to go to what you enjoy. And notes was a natural progression after 2008 because my experience as a whistleblower and fighting the banks, I was like, you know what, this is a losing battle. The bankers control the world. And my whole point was to keep people in their houses and stop foreclosure. So I just said, well, I'll just be the bank. So I started buying notes, and it's a win-win, right? You can do a loan mod. Sometimes you get a deed into a foreclosure. But my whole goal was because people were getting wiped out after, I don't want to get into it, but notes was a passion of mine. Because I'm like, all these people are losing their houses. Banks are fabricating. I don't want to get into it. It was a total fraud. So that was some people are like, don't want to get into notes because they're kind of complicated. But I think if you enjoy a certain niche in real estate, you can do commercial. I think go where your interest is, because if you're doing it because everybody else is doing it, but you don't enjoy it, you're going to burn out. I think you're just not going to stick with it when the times get tough, which they will,
Inevitably, right? Todd, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go to reach out to you or to get a hold of you?
Good question. I'm trying to think about the best. We have a landing page. It's Clear Capital DMV for Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. ClearCapitalDMV.com. You can reach me at Todd@ClearCapitalDMV.com, and always reach out to me on Facebook on Messenger. I don't do a lot of social stuff on Facebook, but I'm on Messenger. You can catch me there. And is it cool to give my number? My phone number?
Ahead.
Yeah, it's 410-916-8863. And that's usually the best way because I don't check my email very often. And generally, if you could text me, I have my phone all the time. So,
Todd, thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Dylan, thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.